Linda, how are you? Morning, Naveen. Look at, I got some new faces on here. This is fun. So before I go into that, just, I guess, like my heart goes out and thoughts and prayers to all those families that were affected 16 years ago and that are still being affected by it. And thankfulness in my heart for all the men and women that are protecting us and that protected us then and are protecting us now. Like this police officer that's passing me, probably wondering why I'm talking to myself in my car. He's probably gonna like turn around and say, "Ma'am, are you all right?" That's fine. Then we'll have him on the video. It'll be great. So just wanted to start with that. But I kind of wanted to tell my story a little bit today and reflect on what I've learned over the last year. So 1 year ago actually happened to be the date that I had an accident, and like life just kind of happened to me, right? And I was affected by that. Morning, Jess. Morning, Rachel. More people jumping on here. Morning, Jose. Good morning, sunshine. And it was something that it's just crazy how life happens. So if you want to hear the story, great. Happy Monday. I love you guys. And I'm going to tell you kind of what I've learned from that situation. But so a year ago, like I'm in my business. I'm a health coach. I run a couple different businesses. I'm a personal trainer. I have fitness stuff. I do health stuff. I do nutrition. And I was at a space in my business where I was just ready to go, like just to work my tail off, and didn't really know who was ready to work or how many people were really ready to work as hard as I wanted to. And it just made this decision, like, I'm just gonna go for it. We were revamping our gym over off 124th. We were revamping our marketing model in Brighton. And I'm like, I'm gonna do it all. Like, this is what I decided. Like, I'm gonna do it all because somebody needs to do it, and I'm just gonna be aggressive and I'm just gonna go after it. I'm gonna do everything. And I had all these plans. So I was spreading myself really thin all over the place, you guys, like just trying to see how I could make, and I don't know, does anybody do this? Like spreading myself super thin. Morning, Ness, how are you? Sorry it took me longer than that. Morning, Chelsea, to get on here. Once again, I'm not here at 9. So, so I was spreading myself really thin all over the place, you guys. And, but I was excited about it, right? But you start to wear yourself down. Like sometimes you can do things to your body and you don't even know that you're doing it, but I was. And I think that somebody had a message for me and I had a lesson to learn. So I was at the gym and we were setting up our war room. We were really excited, right? And, we're hanging up these boards and, we're like, I guess I'm still like excited at this point, even though like, you're kind of tired, you're worn down. Sunday morning, it's 10:30 in the morning. I have a buddy, I'm hanging up this whiteboard, I'm holding it, he's drilling the things in. And then all of a sudden, like something just nails me on the top of my head. And all I know is my head flew forward and I just thought, fuck, what if my life is never the same? Like, that very second, like it makes me want to barf just thinking about it. But like that very second, I was like, what if nothing is ever the same? And it was just one little second, guys. Like, I didn't even like, whoa. And I didn't have time. I didn't have time to create that in my space. I didn't have time to think about it. I didn't have time. It just hit me like that. And so me being like you control your mind, right? Like I sat back up. And I was like, that's not going to happen because what I tell myself is what is going to be, right? So I pulled myself back up and I was like, nope, I'm fine. Like that's not the truth. But then it crept back in. It's like, well, what if my life is never? And like I was just a blow to your head. You like when you have trauma or whatever, you don't even know what you feel. Like I don't remember feeling much. So I was like, I'm okay. Deep breath, like just, like how you like rub an injury, like, it's okay, like I'm just like, this is just whatever, little something, just a shelf hit. Like I rub my head and the guy's like, are you all right? I'm like, it's no problem. Like I'm gotta be super tough, right? I'm like, I'm no problem, I'm good. And then I'm like still holding this whiteboard, so I put my hand back up to hold the board and there's just blood, like a bloody hand, like, right? So there's blood running over all the board. I'm like, okay, well, apparently not like completely fine, right? I am injured at some level here. I've got some sort of cut going on. So I go to check out my head and it's kind of like, just like a watermelon if you just dropped it on the ground, just like kind of popped open a little bit. And still like, I kind of in that shock moment, like it's not that big of a deal. It's not like I was in this huge accident or it's not like I had this huge injury. Morning, Joni, morning, like Jeff, guys, I'm just telling the story right now. So just catch up with me. This is a year ago. It was kind of just about my accident and I haven't really shared a lot about it to a lot of people. So, like I had like the realization that like something's going on here, right? There's a cut, like, so we kind of go look at it, but it's in my head and this is my thoughts. Okay. And I don't know about you guys, but like, this is what goes through my mind. I'm like, well, I don't want to go to the hospital because they're going to shave my head and I don't really want a shaved head. Like, this is my reasoning. I'm not going to go to the hospital. And I don't really care if I have a scar on my head. Semi-truck passing. Let's let it pass. Like I told you guys, I drove around. I'm like in some sort of ridiculous, I don't even know where I'm at right now telling the story. Okay, so I'm like, I don't want him to shave my head. So it's like, okay, so what do I do? Like, I sit down and relax for a while. Everybody's like, are you all right? And I'm pretty good at like, and putting up a front. So I'm like, yeah, no, I'm cool. Like, I'm fine, whatever. So we sit and kind of relax for a little bit. And still, like, in the back of my head was that moment where I fell forward and I was like, what if my life is never the same? And why did that come through my head? Like, why? I didn't have time to think about that. So why was that there? I don't know. I've never experienced something like that. So eventually I call my mom. I'm like, should I drive home? Like, I don't really know. I think I'm okay. Like, it's just a cut. Like, my daughter's at home, so I drive myself home. And then I'm like, hey guys, how do I clean? Maybe some of you guys remember this. I was like, how do I clean my head out, right? Because I don't want my hair to turn colors. These are the things I'm thinking about. What an idiot, right? 1, don't shave my head. 2, like, I don't care about a scar out there. And then 3, like, don't like miscolor my hair. Like, I mean, my hair is 47 colors anyways. Because I was like, I don't want to put peroxide on it. So I go home, I have my daughter pour a bottle of alcohol over my head, take a shower, clean it up, and then I don't know. I'm not really sure the rest of the day. I think I sat on the couch and probably just stared. I really don't remember. I mean, it wasn't like I don't remember. I just don't remember. And the next morning I got up, normal schedule. I'm like, all right, like, I'm still thinking I'm Callie. Like, I've been, if you guys know me, morning Nate, morning Lori, if you guys know me, like, I am a like, I'm going a lot. Like, I'm a super high energy person. Like, I've got a lot on my plate. If I don't have things going, I'm going to make it so I have things going. Like, I like to be busy. I like to be moving. I like energy. I like action. So I still think that's me. Like, that's the character that I am. So I wake up 4 a.m. Let's go to the gym. I'm at the gym and I walk in and I sit down at the first station and Coach Russ comes over and he looks like, he gets like real close to me. Like, he's like right in my face and he's like right here. And he's like, you need to go sit down. And I was like, well, no, I'm working out. And well, I don't think I said that because I don't think I could talk. But that's what I thought I said. And he's like, no, you have a concussion. You need to go sit to the side. And I was like, what? Like, but I kind of just like zombie walked over to this thing and then I stayed for the full workout. Like, I still didn't really know what was happening. So then I like was driving home. I'm like, I'm going to stop by and say hi to my mom on my way to work. I don't know. And then I went to the club and I sat there and I was trying to work at the club, but I couldn't distinguish, like, all the noises and everything was like blurring into one big thing. Guys, if you're just joining us, I'm just telling a story about a year ago, an accident that I had. So there's going to be a point to it at the end. I just haven't shared very much of it. So, like, everything was kind of like blurry and I was trying to look at the computer screen, but it was like my eyes were broke. Like, nothing was working, like, behind, like, it's like you got your like retina, so like there's colors and things, but I couldn't focus on anything on the screen. So I was really trying to be there and be present, but finally I was like, guys, I gotta go home. Like, I don't know what's up. Like, I just don't feel right. So I went home. And then finally we decided, like, maybe I need to go to the doctor. So we set a doctor's appointment. I go in the next day. And, you know, at this point, what was really interesting is it's like, you know, I have a concussion, right? Obviously I have a concussion, but I didn't have something occur to me where it was like this huge occasion, this huge event. And I think for some of us, we think in order to have a life experience that's like valid or worthy of that sort of attention or like trauma or whatever, like it's the car crash where half of your body is like torn up and, you know, you lose whatever, or a 300-pound footballer like hitting my head. It's like, it was just a shelf. Like, it was just a shelf with a bunch of product on it. I don't know what it weighed, 15 pounds, 40 pounds, somewhere in, like, it just popped my head open. So it wasn't like, to the doctors, they're like, like, it was just something, right? So it was like minimalized. And there's probably things in your life where you think this isn't worthy of attention or conversation or talking or feeling about because somebody else is going through more. Obviously 9/11 has a much bigger purpose, right? There's much more things that have happened, but one of the lessons that I learned throughout this experience is that even though my experience might not, I'm gonna get so frustrated if this thing does this again. Reconnecting. Okay, it might not be at the same level. It's still, that doesn't mean that it didn't lose value or education in my heart, in my life, right? So now I'm at the doctor's. And he says you need to go dark. I'm like, I don't know what that means. Like, I haven't really had concussions before. A lot of you guys know, your kids have experienced this, you've experienced this. The seriousness of it was like, it was, You don't mess around with this sort of thing, right? So went home, and what that means is that I just kind of went to my bedroom, no screens, no light, no sounds, no, like, nothing. And like, I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Like, my business it's you guys right here that I'm talking to, right? It's being on social media, it's being in front of people, it's talking to people, it's like, this is my world, and you say that I can't do any of this? Like, I don't understand. Like, you just took away my entire business in a moment. So I'm like, so how quick is this going to go away? So, like, my husband really had to make sure that it's like, this is where you need to be. So for a couple days I did that. But truthfully, you guys, I kind of started to, like, sneak on every once in a while. Like, okay, I need to check my messages. I need to see where I'm at. And I probably played that game for a week or two, and I didn't get better. Like, I continue to stay where I was at. In fact, I probably started to get kind of worse. And what started to happen there is, like, I had the realization that I needed to listen to my body. I needed to listen to the situation, and I needed to make changes. And I'm not Superwoman, even though I think that I am, and I think that I can do anything, that, you know, there's someone that's more powerful than me, and I needed to listen to him. So I had to make some changes. And for the first time in a long time, I had to reach out and I had to ask for help. And this was very humbling for me. It's one of my major lessons that I learned throughout the process, is that I could no longer do the things that I needed to do to operate the business that I've been growing for 10 years, right? And it was almost painful. Does anybody else ever feel like this? Like, for me, Morning Carrie, for me to ask for help was painful, and I don't know why. Like, I don't know why it was so hard. I'm so independent, and I do so much of my own stuff that I feel like I don't know if I feel like that's weakness, probably a little bit. I feel like I'm, like, inhibiting other people. Like, I want them to be able to do their own thing. Morning, Holly, how are you? But, like, something, I needed to learn a lesson there, that it's okay to ask for help. You're not being weak when you ask for help. That's creating, like, a team. And I actually talked about this a little while ago, a couple weeks ago, how people feel good helping you, right? So this was part of my lesson that I was learning, is that it feels good to help. It feels good to share. And I never really give people the opportunity to help and contribute to me, because I want to do it all, because I'm Miss Independent. And that was a lesson that I got to and had to learn. And it was a difficult lesson. It's something I still have to check myself on regularly, because sometimes I'm like, ugh. Morning, Linny. Linny can relate to this probably so many different ways. I've learned a lot about my friends and other people that have gone through similar situations like this. So, that was one of the first things, is I learned to ask for help. And then, guys, the next 2 months, kind of like the situation that, like, occurred after that, this is really where I guess probably only my family knows. And I mean, like, only John and my kids, because I just lost me. So you're thinking it was a minor situation. It was 1 second, this thing hits me. It's not like a big occasion occurred. And then, like, I would say that the best way to explain it is that for months after that, all I did was exist. And the best way to explain that is, like, I was just like a shell of a person, and whoever I am, this me who's, there's a semi driving next door again. This me was not, I don't know where she went. Like, I was not there. And, you know, I didn't know how to smile. I didn't really know how to laugh. I didn't have a personality. I just existed. I moved from one room to the other in my house, and I slept, or I stared, or I would walk, but I couldn't really walk fast. So I would walk at probably like a snail's pace. I probably looked like a zombie. Like, my neighbors wondered what was wrong with me, because I would try to walk around one block, but it would take me a long time just to get around the block. And just, like, eyes down, just trying to get out and be. So I would just go to the porch and sleep in my room, and sleep in the backyard, and sleep in the hammock, and sleep, and just move around. This happened for months at a time. And the me that was there was lost. And this is, I guess, one of the next lessons that came, like, you know, after you start to learn from a situation, is appreciate what you have. And some of us we don't know what we have until we lose it. You know, when we talk about giving gratitude at the beginning, when I said, like, what's something that you're grateful for? You guys, you start to learn to give gratitude for everything in your life, because when you don't have that, that's when you really feel it. So why do we have to wait to lose it to be thankful for it? Why can't we be thankful for it when we have it? And it's just hard. That's just a lesson that most of us, like, it's challenging for us to do. So think about that in your life. Was there something, like, Wendy, okay. Okay, so Wendy, you got in an accident, right? Actually, I'm looking at all of your faces. I can almost name something traumatic that's happened to every single one of you that I can see right there, just from personal stories that I know, right? But Wendy, I'm thinking about your ankles, right? So before that, like all of a sudden you take your feet away because you had your toes, your feet, like all these different problems with your bottom half of your body, and now you can't, like you no longer can walk or run. But when you could walk or run, were you taking advantage of that? Like for those of you guys that are on here like that, you're like, I hate running. Like I hate getting out and moving. Guess what? You have two good legs. Like when I see people take the escalator at the airport or wherever, I'm like, I have two good feet. I just had surgery like right after this. I was on crutches for 2 months in addition to everything else. I'm like, if you have two good feet, take the stairs. If your legs work and your knees work, you get to take the stairs. How lucky are you? How lucky are we that our bodies work, right? If your arms work and your hand, like for like somebody who has had a shoulder injury, like if you got to sleep without pain, you would be so thankful. For those of us that get to sleep without pain, how lucky and blessed are we, right? For those of us that have thumbs that work where we can pick things up, use them. Like, right? Like the fact that we get to do that, the fact that we get to touch, the fact that we get to feel, like all of the things that we have. When we talk about saying your gratitude, what happened for me is I really had to learn how to start to have so much gratitude for everything else that was in my life. So in all this time where I would lay there, I had like this certain position that I had to lay in. I would lay on my back and my knees would be on a pillow and my hands would be underneath my legs, and I would open up my chest and I would just start saying, I was thankful. Thank you for my pinky. Thank you for my finger. Thank you for my stomach. Thank you for every single thing that I still had that was intact, because my mind wasn't. My brain wasn't, my smile wasn't, and my character wasn't. So what I lost was me. Like in this situation, what I didn't know, and I think that I take advantage. I think that I know, like I love that I have energy. I love that I have a personality, this craziness. Like I know that I'm a frazzle spaz, and I really embrace that. But I think having that ripped from me. Oh, hey friends. Maybe this will work this time. Maybe it won't. Maybe this will be the ending to my story that I did earlier. Maybe it won't. I don't even know who's online anymore compared to before, because I was telling my story and then I lost the internet, and then I lost the internet again. Then I drove somewhere, then I lost it again, then I drove somewhere else and I lost it again. But I had a couple of you send me a message and you wanted to know, like, hey, Callie, I was listening to your story and I never got to hear the end. So this is mostly for the people that listened this morning that were wondering what the hell the point of my whole story was going to be. So I wanted to kind of just pick up where I left off. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, that would be from, I don't know, like 8 o'clock. And I was telling everybody, like, I waste like 5 minutes at the beginning. So if you want to just skip all that, although that's when I'm the most frazzle spazerific, if you just want to laugh and make fun of me. Or this is just a side note, guys, go to yoga with me sometime. You should have seen me today. I was a disaster trying to do all this stuff Heidi had us doing. It was ridiculous. Hi, Tania. Hi, Amanda. Hopefully the club's going good now. No more surprises. Yay. Okay. So I'm going to actually just get into this while I have internet reception for 17 seconds, just in case, because who knows what's going to happen next. So I was telling my story earlier, and I was talking about 1 year ago, and when I had just some sort of minor accident, seemingly very small, and it just turned my world upside down. I had this concussion and kind of turned me into this zombie state for a good, I don't know, like 4 months, right? And that's kind of where I was at. I was talking about how one thing that I had to do for the first time ever was ask for help, and how difficult that can be for some of us, and how it's something that I was learning from my situation. And then right where I was getting to was how in our life we need to have appreciation for the things that are good while they're good, and take advantage of what we can while we can. And sometimes we don't know what we have until it's gone, right? Like so many, I think there's so many situations like that. And morning or afternoon, gosh, this is weird afternoon. Hi, Lisa, how's it going? So I was talking about this morning, right when it got cut off at the end of that, is when I started kind of mentioning how I had lost who I was. And that was like, it's not like I lost it, well, and I did lose the ability of like using my legs and stuff because I had that like ankle surgery, so I couldn't walk, other things like that, which are very obvious. But when you lose your personality, it was very challenging for me to kind of figure out I guess to find appreciation for like your innermost person. And something that I was just about to state was, that like there was this time where John and we were coming back from the neurologist, because I went to see so many different ones of them, because nobody had the answer that I wanted, right? Like nobody had really any answer, which is the most like aggravating answer, because it's no answer and it's no help. So we were coming back from one of the appointments, and I kind of just like would go in and out of like crying, zombie, whatever. And John just said, he's like, I just want my wife back. Like, I just want her back. And that's like, I guess that like a moment of realization that I had, that I'm not here, and where did I go? And we kind of like, we started seeking out some different neurologists to try to find more answers in that, because it seemed like for just what a minor accident would be, like 4 months of non-communicating, no phones, no TVs, no anything, seemed like a really long time, right? And then I just had started to get to the point where I love doing personal development. You guys know that. I love reading books. I love learning. And I was able to start listening a little bit. It was hard to process, but like to listen to some different things. And I knew I had done The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, and I decided to read his or listen to his Taking Life Head On. And it's funny because the first time that I had heard that, I had like no interest in it. And I was like, you know, I'm going to actually listen to his story, because he was the one that got like crippled, crushed in this accident. Like incredible what his body withtook and withstood, and his attitude in the hospital afterwards. And I took some of his words that he stated right afterwards, where it's like, you have to make a decision. Like when something happens in your life, you get to be angry, frustrated, pissed off for, and I don't even remember because it was a little while ago, but I don't know if it was the 5 second, the 5 minute rule, what, like there was a certain amount of time where he's like, this is how long I'm gonna be pissed for. And then it's like, now what? Move on, right? So now it's been 4 months, my business is decreasing, and I love all my clients, I love all our coaches, but when I'm not doing stuff, when I'm not as active, people have a hard time staying on their programs. Like they have a hard time reaching out as much. So I saw some dips and some curves and what was going on in my business, and that piece was frustrating. But I took some of his suggestion of like, if this is what it is, then this is what it is. So I'm going to go to my next neurologist, and I'm going to ask him, like, is this the new me? Is the new me going to struggle to smile? Is the new me going to need to nap for 2 hours every day? Is the new me going to be like, not be able to ever look at a computer screen again? Like, is this just what it is? Because if so, no problem. Then let me figure out how to adapt to that. Because if that's what life presents me, then I get to decide, like, am I going to be pissed about that forever, or am I going to create a solution? So I had already decided before I went to this appointment that I was going to create a solution. If that was the case, I'd restructure my day. I'd make sure that there was a nap time in the middle of the day. This is the girl that like never, like I have energy all the time. And I was like, oh my God, like this is going to be so weird, right? If I need to like hire out every single thing that's done online, then I just hire out every single, I need to figure out, like I'll get really good at delegating. So I just started to, as I started to embrace the fact that it would be okay even if I didn't heal and become, like, remember that in the beginning of my video this morning, I said how that oh shit moment where I was like, what if I'm never the same? And it's like, okay, so what if I'm never the same? Like this happens to people, right? There's things that happen in our life where we are never the same. And how do we react? How do we move on? How do we adapt to the situation and go forward from there? So I went to that appointment, and you know, we started working on some things. It's kind of anticlimactic after that point. Like I finally decided to start some different medications, start some stuff, but it's been a year now. I still have stuff. I still forget words. You guys watch me, right? You know, when I'm like, what are we talking about? Right? Which one of my goals is to be a public speaker, even more so than I am now, on a higher level. And it's going to be something that I just have to learn how to have fun with, deal with, handle, persevere through, because it's just one of the challenges that I have. The regular headaches, that's just something that's there that I have to learn how to adapt to and listen to my body. And that's the final lesson that I wanted to get to. So I went through a couple lessons that I had learned through this whole situation over the last year. And, you know, the first one, asking for help. The second one, appreciating every single thing that my body offers, appreciating every movement. Like, if you can do it, you guys do it. If you have the ability to walk or run or move, walk or run and move. Like, if you're like, I just don't want to exercise, if you have moving joints, exercise, because who knows when you're not going to be able to anymore. Like, you know, my husband just like he popped his other calf. He injured one calf. He just injured this calf. And he's like, well, now I can't work out again. It's like, why your body body's healthy, use it, right? So, and like the same thing, your mind, your attitude, your heart, like when it's going well, take advantage of that and be appreciative of it and thankful for it. But then the last thing, and one of the biggest lessons that I think that God had to teach me during this, because I told you in the very beginning one this morning, was that I was going everywhere. I was spreading myself really thin, and I was like, I have these very high goals, and I'm never going to stop setting high goals for myself. Definitely not the point. But I have very high goals and a lot that I want to achieve. But the way that I was going about achieving them was, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, instead of figuring out how to create a system and teams, and more so like, just like have a group that's going together, I guess. And it's just learning how to, that it's not just going to be about the end result, which I think at some point the athlete in me looks at the end, right? Like I see a mountain and I want to be at the top. I see a challenge and I want to be there. I want to check that off my list. I want to cross the finish line, and that's always been my nature. But learning about this has taught me that I need to slow down. And you guys are like, God, you talk so dang fast. But in life, like learning to just slow down and breathe and be, and I know I'm like 90% of the time I'm my frazzle spaz crazy person, but then the other times now I've really taken this and I've embraced the fact that I have to, like there was no option. The slowing down was the option that I was given, because I think I was my door was being knocked on a number of times before that. I had a number of things that should have slowed me down, but they didn't, because I am just that person, right? So he's like, I'm gonna throw the shelf at your head and knock you on your ass for 4 months, and then let's see if you learn how to be quiet. And I kind of did. So learning how to slow down, learning how to just be, learning how to sit in peacefulness, sit in quietness, sit in stillness. It took me all the way 8 months past that to start doing my yoga. Some of you guys saw I did that, like a yoga adventure. And now when I don't get to do it, I don't feel like, I feel great when I get to do yoga. I don't feel as great when I don't get to, because I like the peacefulness, the quietness, the stillness, and yet still like that challenge that I get to be in that. Meditating, just being like, I take multiple times throughout the day, you guys. Now I'll find myself where I'll just sit. I can, like, before I thought that you were being like lazy if you just lay down in the middle of the day. Like, why would somebody just lay down, right? But I'll find myself, I will lay down, hammock, like on this hard floor, my wood floor the other day, I'm just laying there. If somebody walked in, they'd be like, what the heck is she doing, right? I'm laying there, same position that I was talking about before, my hands are on my legs, my head's back, my heart's open, and I'm just feeling myself and giving gratitude. How weird am I, right? How weird is life that it's presenting me these lessons, but just like feeling the gratitude for every single thing. And when people like say, so what are you grateful right now? When I start this, I say like, thank you, God. Thank you for every single thing that's happening to me in this exact moment. This is how I end every one of my yoga practices. Thank you for every single thing that's happening in my life in this exact moment. Thank you for my heart beating. Thank you for my eyes closed. Thank you for my skin that's sweating. Thank you for my babies that are on their way to gymnastics. Thank you for my son who's upstairs. Thank you for my parents. And I start going through this list where like I'm saying it, and when I say it, you guys, I'm feeling the thankfulness from my heart, because I've learned over the last year to not just like go through the motions, but really slow and breathe that all in and just feel what it feels like to have so much gratitude and appreciation, because I don't know what's next. Like, I don't know what metaphorical shelf is going to fall out of the head or fall out of the sky. See how fun this is? Sometimes you guys can just mix and match my words. It's like one of those crossword puzzles like this, and you just have to figure out what word goes where and then make a story out of it. It's like those Mad Libs. It's kind of like that. But so now I completely forget what I'm talking about. Anyways, so it's just something that I really do. Now this is a prime example of what's happened in my life, you guys. I'm like, okay, we were having a conversation, but I don't remember what. Anyways, this is it, guys. This is what happened. This is my experience. This is the last 12 months of my life. It was a year ago today. That's what it was, the metaphorical shelf. Like, right? I don't know what's going to happen. You guys don't know what's going to happen next. We have no idea. Right? Like, I don't know, like your life might be a beautiful, like just everything's perfect right now, but you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. Or you might be struggling and going through some things right now, and you're figuring out how to react and adapt so that you can keep living each day with a smile. And I don't say that because I'm living in fear or in anticipation of a shelf dropping on my head tomorrow. but I'm living a more full, more grateful, more appreciative life because of a situation that was brought to me, I do believe, for a very specific reason, right? So I've learned a lot because of that situation. I've learned a lot because of what I've gone through, and I could have chose to react to the situation much differently. I could have chose anger for, I mean, so many different things. You guys can imagine, right? Like you've had something happen to you, like you could choose something different, but instead, like that's we get to choose. That's the whole point. Like when life happens to us, we get to choose our reaction. What are we going to learn from it? How are we going to walk away from it? How are we going to persevere? How are we going to become better people? Because I believe this is now part of my journey that's going to help other people even more. That you know, every experience, if we learn something, that experience is not lost. And if I can teach from it, then it's really not lost. Now I get to help other people, I hope, somehow express, if I can just express some of that fullness that lives in my chest and my heart and that fire in my belly, if I can get some of that to you guys out there in any way possible. This is why I do what I do. Every program that I do is because I want you guys to feel what I feel, but I don't want you to have to get whaled in the head with a shelf and be a zombie for 4 months. I don't want you to have to experience that. I don't want you to have to like we can learn from each other's experiences. That's why we do personal development. That's why we study other humans. That's why we have conversations, support groups, mentors, right? That's why we group together. The community comes together so we can learn from one another and be the best, like the best version of us without all having to go through that. So that's my last year, right? What my last notes that I had in here, you know, life is happening right now. Like we get to learn, we get to reflect, we get to grow from it. And I hope that you guys are learning and reflecting and growing from every situation that life is offering you. And I know that they're not all perfect situations, but each moment's a growing moment. And, you know, despite, I don't love when I feel like a knife's being shoved through my head, which happens regularly. But there's a sign, there's something, I need to slow down. I'm listening continuously, right? And we always know that things could be worse, things could probably be better, but I know that no matter what, I'm gonna do my best to work through each moment, live each moment, and learn something so I can not only accept and grow that myself, but pass it along to anybody who's willing to listen, learn, and grow with me. So I apologize for this being multiple videos. If you guys just jumped on, I didn't get to say hi to everybody on here. Thank you so much, Monday afternoon, for joining me. The rest of my story of kind of what happened for the last 12 months was posted this morning about how things can change just in a split second. I do curse one time pretty big in there, whoops, but that's just what went through my head, so I apologize for that. Not really, that's just what it is. So I appreciate you guys for being on here tonight. Reach out. I know that there's some of you that have stories. I've actually had a couple people that reached out and they kind of hid in there. They have a similar story, and sometimes it just feels good to share. So if you have something that you want to share, like I went through something too, and this is what I learned, imagine what other people could learn from you sharing those things. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. Live with full hearts, live with fire in your belly, and don't live in fear, but you know, just live in every moment with appreciation for what God has given you and the abilities that you have right now at your fingertips. Take advantage of everything, you guys. Go big, go hard, and have some fun out there. That's all I got for you. Happy Monday, and obviously I'm gonna end this with Go Broncos! That's a wrap, finally. And my video worked the whole time. What the heck?